Okay, let's move a bit further on our playing with the words. The journey is from language development, which is sound awareness, knowing names of the things, to literacy, to literature. So we must have end in the mind that we are actually inspiring them on literature so that they become good avid readers. Just to share you a small experiment that I did with some small kids from the neighborhood that came here. We said, okay, we have a word 1,000, right? Can we find new words out of it? And the kids started trying. It's A-N-D, and it's sand, it's and. So they stopped at somewhere 15, 20 something words. Our target was let's have 70 words out of this 1,000. So just they stopped after 15, 20. They said, "Uncle, the words are finished. We can't make more." And we did one small thing, and that is this: we took it and we cut it like this. And you won't believe it, as soon as they started doing this kind of stuff, certain things that which will simply not coming in their mind, it start coming. Oh, it's a hound, right? Oh, it's out. Now from that fixed, which you can't manipulate, to this thing, in next 10 minutes, they had crossed 75. So cutting them and manipulating, we discovered that day it's a huge loss of difference giving things on a fixed something and ability to manipulate. That's why manipulatives are important if we can do, and that makes things flexible and creates a huge loss of space to do that. This was one interesting lesson. And find out fun things about the words like this. The one we just did is anagrams, finding words out of the words. But we can do lots of things like palindromes, right? The word which, even if we reverse, and these days we can find it on the Bing, on the Google, just write palindrome, many will come, and whatever we feel appropriate to the level of the kids. Spoonerism, many things will come where the voice is changed, like for example, wet blanket to cat blanket, something to enjoy, for example, tongue twisters, right? Something like nim words, synonyms, metonyms, all those nyms that will give you families, right? Just like nim words, malapropism. So some categories to play around with the words. And sometimes, I recall my own journey, I came across a word which was the longest that at least I knew, and then I found out later that it is probably the 6th, 7th longest long words. Because kids are like things which are surprising, which they can share out. For example, the longest, the fastest, the tallest. The longest word that I came across, and you can generate through lots of things around it, the anagram, was phloxy, nauci, N-A-U-C-I, nihilification. Now there was, I remember at that time there were 11 something I's. Now if this is such a long word, they will be stunned too, and now you can find out the longest word is probably some name of some disease, and find out there are words within that, and you can easily use their own names, children's own names, and they will start making fun of this kind of stuff. I remember there was another word in the dictionary, disadvantageousness. Now look at the kind of syllables and fun that we can make a disadvantageousness. So this is the kind of stuff can be done. Sometimes we can do things like, for instance, just anything common around us. and from the stories or anything, where do the word come from, but we need to have a habit. If we don't enjoy doing it, then we can't do it. Simple. Then we will only create boredom. These things needs more than just doing it. It needs a passion and enjoying ourselves. For example, passport. And we start playing with it. The passport and port. Why do you call USB as a port? Why? What is the USB stands for? And the bus is which carries, it carries data, so it's also a bus. Sort of thing, this is an endless thing. For example, Google, and they will come to know Google actually has come from Google, which is a big number, one with 100 zeros. So I remember I did it with some kids, and the only thing at the end, that was a very small, short, only number related exercise. The Google they enjoyed so much that they shared it out with their kids, and that's a sort of sign of your success. That is there something which they go and share with their parents, with their uncles, with other kids around them. So Google or Sim or anything which is around, which you feel where did it come from. So that can be, sometimes what we can do is take one category of words. For example, star, moon, Mars. If there is a star and moon and Mars, we can make interesting, like make the thing like star, we can make it over here as STAR, right? And sun, we can go down because S is common. Mars, maybe we can make an M here and RS, right? And maybe we can start a moon over here. So from this, now we have made it using some category of words of the same family. It can be some animals, it can be some emotions, it can be some actions, jumping, etc. And then we can hide it. We can hide some of them, right? And it becomes a puzzle for them. And give them the hint, yeah, it's something which is in the space, or they are a family, it comes at night, and some comes at day, and they will start to. So make games. Instead of finding out where do I get a game, we can make games ourselves. Yesterday we discussed one concept was take a word and a family of that. For example, take one word, body, and what comes in your mind when the body comes. Okay, maybe the children say, in my comes strong body, healthy body, right, and weak. You might say, I am getting mind. There's a body and there's a mind, right? Oh, it comes to me, exercise, right? So this kind of stuff you can do, for example, of the things of their interest. For example, it's a friend. So what comes in your mind when a friend comes in your mind? They might be saying enemy, and they might be saying play, and they might say nice. So those sort of making these word maps and families around. Grouping is a very interesting idea sometimes. Those classes of the things like pack of wolves and for example library of books, right? So pack and library, and you can find out some interesting from Google, from any book. For example, what of stars, what of crows, what of bouquet of flowers, so constellation of stars. So these kind of stuff becomes another point of interest for them. Prefix, suffix, prefix and suffix, we should give them a idea that some of the things can go with many things. For example, if it's a disobey, dislike, miss, un, but remember, we have to use the ones which are very frequent and around them. Another very important, which is actually goes long in our learning, is adjectives. Now adjectives, almost good and bad, should be out of our vocabulary, right? We should give them some interesting things to describe, and the most used ones are boring, exciting, interesting, good looking, surprising, amazing. So these surprising, so that they can use it. It's surprising, it's amazing, right? It's beautiful, or it's exciting. So give them these words. right? So these adjectives can be an interesting idea, and there can be many ideas. Some words which are words and but have shades of meaning, like if it's a car, for example, well, this words look like a cart, right? This actually comes from the kereta, something, and in Malaysia, I'm here in Malaysia, so they call it kereta, and even the word chariot. Or do they look like kind of a similar? So they will start understanding. Yeah, they'll, and some words come from even our language to English. So that's how languages do this sort of osmosis, and they take words. For example, deco. Deco is coming from Urdu. Dekho. Let's have a deco at it. Let's have a look at it. Guru. Nabab. N-A-B-O-B, dhoti. Now, they will start having a sense, okay, if the people came here or we go there, so the words are coming from, Urdu is coming from. Tell them the meaning of the word Urdu, that is a lashkar, and there were whatever, the armies and the people derived it, this kind of stuff. So, take one word and start extending with it. For example, you take one word and make other words with it. For instance, what comes in my mind is hand. So we can make lots of things: handful, handbag, handkerchief, handy, left-handed. So huge lots of things come in. Make them and give them some awareness. We can that some words have a cultural connotations as well. Not necessarily we are talking kg or 1, 2. This can go up to for any level, at that level. For instance, this Halloween or Valentine, so they come from certain culture. It's not necessary that kind of, we should make them aware a little bit more about the words. If there's a word enlightenment, it has a context in which it was coined and used, so that particular context and the culture and the value, or not as a perspective or the worldview goes with it. So we must be aware that we are not kind of dissecting the words that we said yesterday. If there is a word decision, so we can take the root and say cis means cut, the scissor comes from this, and for example, excise is a tax because we cut it, right? And circumcision, and then we go from the circum. So these are the kind of stuff, the ideas, and each idea you can manipulate. I just give you a walkthrough. For example, I stumbled upon this book just yesterday, 99 word puzzles, and I will just show you a few of them. Essentially, the ideas are same. Take the words, cut them, break them, right? Make these of some, but we should not, we now know how to make it. Take one family and start making it, fill it, and then make it empty, but leave some of them for them to get an idea. Make these kind of spirals, make these kind of glaciers. Now these are since the glacier word, so they have put it into an art on the glacier. Word pairs, which goes with what, who are friends, and etc. So again, those kind of stuff. No new idea. This is interesting new idea. You add one alphabet, and pant, and you have to add one alphabet and go on. So no new idea, not at all. So all we need to do is knowing the properties of the words and what sort of fun can be created with it. Riddles are obviously interesting. Riddles are interesting to give them this kind of stuff. For example, container. What is the dance of two containers? The can, right? What do you call a missing container? Jargon, jar, gone, right? What's the difference between a cat and a comma? One has clause at the end of his pause, and one has a pause at the end of the clause. So interesting. So find out some riddle book, or you can find out millions of riddles on the Google. So teach your words. For instance, take any word, doubt, dream. Now these are some selective words which have lots of interesting things, essentially for reading, for writing practice. We will come later, but take any one and start playing with it. Thousands of ideas we have. So I think it's all about our mindset that we should love to do this kind of stuff. And if we don't love to do, simply we should not do this kind of stuff. Simple. Then we are kind of communicating that it's a boring process, don't do it. If we have to communicate love of this and actually think that they have to become a linguist and an author and a literature loving and a reading loving, whatever field he or she goes in, then this is the kind of thing we would be doing around 2-3 times every week with them. Thank you very much.